What's up, nerds? Happy April Fool's Day. Today I want to share with you something that I've dreamt up. This is Metroid Prime for the Nintendo GameCube using the Ring Fit accessories. If you're anything like me, you bought a Ring Fit at the start of quarantine. It's a pretty novel game and game accessory, but like with most things exercise, you play it for a couple hours and you set it down and it collects dust. So today I want to share with you this really funny idea I had to control Metroid Prime using the Ring Fit. And it turns out it works really well, especially because of Dolphin's advanced input mapping configuration. You can get a lot of usability out of the Ring and kind of hack the game almost to be built around a Ring Fit. So that's what I want to share with you today. In this video, I'm going to tell you exactly everything you need to do to get set up if you have a Windows PC and the Ring Fit controller. After this video, you can be playing Metroid Prime on your computer with a Ring Fit controller. Also, a quick disclaimer. I'm no exercise guru. I'm just really good at technology, so if you hurt yourself exercising incorrectly, that's on you, not on me. So, cool. All right, so the first thing you're going to want to do is come to the RingCon-Driver's GitHub page. This is the software that's going to basically make the RingCon make sense to a Windows PC. The way it accomplishes that is by basically emulating an Xbox 360 controller in its button inputs. So actions on the RingCon will translate to just regular button and analog stick presses. And there's different ways to configure that. So if you want to maybe do this for another game, you can read more about it here. But if you're just wanting to follow this tutorial and play Metroid Prime, you want to come to the releases page. You want to download the latest release. It might not be this. And then you want to download the release zip file. On GitHub, unless you know what you're doing, you never want to download the source code files, as well as this download button here. I see people using that. You want to come to releases, and you want to download the latest. When that's downloaded, you can say extract all, and that'll just take them out of that zip file. And so when you run the RingCon-Driver, there's two settings that by default are disabled, and that's RingCon to analog stick and run presses button. So we want those for Metroid Prime, and those settings are off by default. Those checkboxes will clear every time you run the program. So if that bothers you, you can right click here on config.txt. And you can find this RingCon to analog and set that to 1. And run presses button, you can find that and set that to 1. And if you save that and close, then you won't have to worry about remembering which settings you need to turn on every time you play. One thing I like to turn on when I'm not playing is run unlocks gyro. The gyroscope in the RingCon acts as an analog stick on an Xbox controller. It actually will navigate Windows GUI components. So to stop that from happening when you set the RingCon down, because setting it down is like analog up, you can check this just to get it to stop. But for Metroid Prime, we actually want to be able to turn without running. It's only forward and backwards that we want to stop. So to actually get the RingCon connected, you want to come to Bluetooth and other devices. So I just did that by hitting the start menu button and started typing Bluetooth. You see mine already paired here, but all you have to do is click add Bluetooth or other device, click on Bluetooth, and it'll start scanning Bluetooth for those Joy-Cons. You have to press and hold the connect button on each Joy-Con, the left and right one, while they're not attached to the RingCon for them to show up here. But when they do, you just click on them. Windows will set them up and be able to talk to them. This will only work if you have something like a laptop that has a Bluetooth chip built into it, or if you buy, they're probably like $10 at Amazon, a Bluetooth adapter that lets you connect to Bluetooth devices in this manner. So once you get them connected, we can go ahead and close this, and we'll be able to actually start the program. It takes a little bit to turn on, but once it's on, you can actually feel both Joy-Cons vibrate. And so there I had to push a button on a Joy-Con to get it to connect all the way. Now that the RingCon-Driver service is started, we can validate that that works by going to Game Controllers. And you can see here, Windows thinks I have an Xbox 360 controller plugged in. And if I go to Properties, you can see here, if I push buttons on the Joy-Cons, things light up. You can see here the left Joy-Con acts as the D-pad, or right thumbstick, whatever that is. And then if I do this, uncheck that run unlocks gyro, you can see as I tilt the con around, it pretty accurately represents what I'm doing in the box. Not that you can see me right now, but so once you've confirmed that that's working, we can go ahead and move to the next part, which is setting up Dolphin. So real quick, for those of you who might need a hand with Dolphin, you want to come to the downloads page, and you want to download the latest beta version. The stable version's super old. You don't want it. So you want to download this here. And then if you get any errors with that, you want to click on this and download and install this for the latest distributable package. You'll need 7-zip. So it just kind of looks like that. And then before we can set up the RingCon, you'll want to start Dolphin for the first time, and then you can close it to generate the configuration. To use the controller mapping profile I made, you want to come to this gist on GitHub. And to download this, you want to right-click the raw button, save link as, and then you want to just find a folder and hit download. So now that we have that, that goes in the Dolphin configuration folder. So that's in Documents, Dolphin Emulator, Config, Profiles, GCPad. You might not have some of these folders. For example, if you haven't made a GameCube profile yet, you might not have this folder. If you just make a folder of that name, it'll work fine. And then, yeah, you just drag and drop that in like that. And now it'll show up the next time you launch Dolphin. So I can go ahead and show that. So if you go to Controllers, Configure, we can now load the prime fit. So you have to select it from the dropdown. You have to click the button load. And so now this has all of the mapping to actually be able to play the game. You can see the input device is that virtual Xbox 360 controller. If it's not working, you might need to come here and either click refresh and select whatever it is on your system, if it's named something slightly different. But yeah, you can see here things light up when I'm using the SwitchCon. So yeah, with that, that's everything you need to get set up to play. You can just jump straight into the game. All right, so on this practice map, I'm going to show you all of the different ways you control Samus with the RingCon. Um, I was able to fit everything on the GameCube controller onto the RingCon except for two buttons, and that's start and the map. So I've put those on the keyboard as start and backslash if you need them. And then navigating menus with the RingCon is a bit tricky. So the arrow keys on the keyboard can be used for that if you need it. Um, but yeah, apart from that, everything else is either on the ring or on the thigh strap Joy-Con. So I'll be calling them the right and left Joy-Con because that's what they are. So, um, but yeah, the first thing I want to go over is looking around. So um, just by turning the RingCon like a steering wheel, um, you get Samus to turn. Not like this, but like a car. And then to go forwards and backwards, you tilt it for like away from you or towards you. You can even bend with your body, but it doesn't move her until you start jogging. It doesn't take much. I mean, really, you just need to be pumping your legs. You don't even have to pick your feet up, really. But if you're like actually playing this for a workout, I mean, you should be jogging. You know that. So, um, but yeah, if you're pointing forward and you come to a stop, Samus will keep walking for a second and then come to a stop herself. Um, uh, and that works for backwards as well too, of course. Um, so for the other look options, if you press Y, it's easiest to press the right Joy-Con buttons with your thumb, whatever your dominant hand is. So if I tap Y, it toggles the R button. So I can go ahead and look around like that. And then from there, right, if I see something I want to lock onto, I can tap the A button. And now it's toggled the lock. If I don't want to toggle lock and I just want to hold a lock with my finger, like I'm dashing or something, I can hold the B button and it'll only be pressed for as long as I'm holding it. Whereas the A button, it's more of a toggle lock. So, and you can also use B to switch targets like that, which is pretty nice. So I think that's it for looking. So getting into combat, just to fire whatever beam you have selected is a light press. It's really not very far, and it's really consistent when it activates. Right, so I mean, I can press that fast on a GameCube controller, so it's kind of cool. And then to charge it, you do a heavy press, right? And then for missiles, you do the opposite, so you pull. And then to fire the beam combo, right? Because you can't come from charge all the way to a missile fast enough. So what I did is, if you pull the RingCon hard enough, it'll fire whatever beam combo you have selected. So, as for actually switching beams and visors for that matter, the joystick on the right con, if you tap it to the left, then the four buttons on the thigh con, that's a nickname I just came up with, control the visors. And then if I tap it to the right, those four buttons control the beams. So if I want to shoot Wave Buster, you know, so cool stuff. Let's see. So that's it for combat. Let's go over jumping. So the way you jump is you squat. So right, nothing happens when you drop into a squat. I don't even know if you could see me. But when you come up out of the squat, Samus will jump. And if you have space jump, she'll input 2 jumps. The reason for that is that you cannot physically squat fast enough to space jump in the timing that you would need. So, yeah, once again, drop into a squat. It has to be pretty low, and then just the instant you stand up, she'll jump. Let's see. So that leaves us to morph. So that's X on the right Joy-Con. And then same thing with walking. You have to be jogging for the gyroscope to activate. And turning around's a little weird, but if you're pointed straight, it's really just like you're driving a morph ball car, which is pretty fucking funny. And let's see. Bombs are also just a squeeze. No surprise there. There's a little bit of latency with the Joy-Con, so that takes a little getting used to. But there we go. Power bomb is a pull. And then to boost, instead of doing a squat, you sit in your squat, and then you do the arm pull. I forget what it's called, but get the deltoids working to get boosting. So that's it for movement. Oops. There's one weird thing, and this has to do with RingCon-Driver, is that the plus sign on the right controller, if you press it, it's the same as squatting. I would have turned that off if I could, but just know that is a jump, but that's not intended. Real ones know you gotta squat to jump, so. So just a couple of things I want to share with you in playtesting. Right, for like platforming, it's good to like kind of use your dominant hand, whatever it is, right, to hold it by the top and press the face buttons, and like really use that hand to like help steer. Right, it's a lot easier than like this, because the gyroscope is in that top piece, so you'll get the best accuracy kind of gripping it from the top of the steering wheel. And that helps with platforming a lot. Platforming is a little tricky in this, but it's not impossible. Let's see. And then for when you're actually like in combat, a lot of like charge is a very efficient way to do combat in this, especially if you're out of missiles. But the problem is that if you're holding charge and you're out here, when you're pushing on the Joy-Con, like it gets kind of wiggly holding that charge, and it's easy to like slip like that. So in combat, what I find myself doing is holding the charge, but in the chest, and then I actually steer with my body, and kind of use it. It looks funny, but that's kind of seems to be the best way to use charge in a fight where you're strafing. And then the last thing, I'm sure everyone's wondering this, is can you scan dash? Can you do space jump first? Yes. It's a little tricky. You basically have to learn the timing over, because the muscle memory is with your legs, as opposed to your fingers. But I mean, I think I can demonstrate here. So I grab a lock with B. I go into a squat, and then I'm gonna, turn the steering wheel. So I can put a jump early there. I let go of early. So that's a good dash. I do give you a 1-frame B press when you stand up. So if you do get the dash, you'll go far. So that's how dashing looks. And that's everything I wanted to show you. You have everything you need to go to conquer Talon 4 with a Ring Fit. Have fun with it. Don't hurt yourself.